Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to take a look at distance and midpoint formula. This is a review from Algebra 1. So your distance formula is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And your midpoint is going to be the average of the x coordinates and the y coordinates. Okay, so you need to memorize these for your SAT. So this is built into this course as an SAT review. Okay. So we're going to start off by finding distance formula for all of them. So this, I'm going to label this x1, y1, and x2 and y2. Okay, so I'm going to do negative 7 minus a negative 2 squared plus negative 7 minus 3 squared. Okay, so this turns into a plus plus. So negative 7 plus 2 is a negative 5. Negative 5 squared is 25. And negative 7 minus 3 is negative 10. Negative 10 squared is 100. Okay, so your distance is square root of 125. Now, if you want to break that down, those roots down, this is an easy one to break down. So this is 25 and 5. So this is going to go to 5 square roots of 5. Remember, when we break down square roots, we look at the pairs. The midpoint. So the midpoint is going to be x1 plus x2. So negative 2 minus 7 over 2, comma, and then 3 minus 7 over 2. So the midpoint of those 2 points is going to be negative 9 halves. 3 minus 7 is a negative 4 halves, which is a negative 2. That. Okay, distance formula for the next one. We're going to label this x1, y1, and x2, y2. Okay, so our distance is going to be the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So negative 6 minus 5 is a negative 11. Negative 11 squared is 121. Okay. And then 3 minus 9 is a negative 6. Negative 6 squared is 36. Okay, so d is equal to square root of 157. I think that's prime. Anyways, you don't have to bother simplifying it if you don't want to. So your midpoint is going to be 5 minus 6 all over 2, and then 9 plus 3 all over 2. So your midpoint is going to be a negative 1 half. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Yep. Next one. So we're going to label this x1, y1, x2, y2. So your distance formula is going to be the square root of x2 minus x1 squared. So negative 8 minus a negative 10 squared plus 1 minus negative 7 squared. This turns into a plus plus. So 10 minus 8 is 2. 2 squared is 4. This becomes a plus plus. So 8 squared is 64. So d is equal to square root of 68. Now we go to find our midpoint. So it's a negative 10 minus 8 over 2. And negative 7 plus 1. Okay, so we get your midpoint comes out to be Negative 18 over 2 is a negative 9. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Okay. Next one, we're going to label this x1, y1, and x2, y2. So your distance formula is going to be negative 1 minus 2 squared plus 4 minus a negative 9 squared. Okay, so negative 1 minus 2 is a negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. Four plus 9 is 13. 13 squared is 169. Square root of 178. That's what it comes out to be. Just an FYI, you need to have your first 1 through like 25 squared memorized for your SAT. It just helps. I would have all your cubes through 5 memorized, and you know, your first I would say like 5 to the 4th you probably should stop at. But it's always good to have those memorized so you can, you know, do this stuff quickly and not have to use a calculator or multiply it out by hand. Your midpoint is going to be 2 minus 1 over 2 and negative 9 plus 4 over 2. So 2 minus 1 is 1. There's 1/2. Negative 9 plus 4 is a negative 5 divided by 2, so negative 5/2. And our last example problem. Okay, so this is x1, y1, x2, and y2. So distance is going to be the square root of negative 1 minus 8 squared plus 3 minus 5 squared. So this becomes negative 9. Negative 9 squared is 81. 3 minus 5 is a negative 2, and negative 2 squared is 4. So this is square root of 85. Okay, and then your midpoint is going to be 8 minus 1 over 2 and 5 plus 3 over 2. So your midpoint is going to be 7/2 and 4. Okay, so this has been distance and midpoint review for you. Like I said, you really don't use this in calculus ever, or pre-cal much less, but I just want to add that in here as a review for your SAT. So thanks and have a good day.